Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Next Shot, where I'm joined with my co-host, Luke Lukasic. Luke, how's it going, man?
It's great to be back, Roger. It's great to be back.
It is great to be back. So also today we have a very special guest photographer on our show, Maq Brown from Denver, North Carolina. How are you doing, Maq?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. I don't know about the special part, but I, I appreciate you having me on.
Every guest we have on here is special in one way or another. Okay. I promise you that.
I'll give you that.
Okay, good. So Maq, give us a little bit of your background and how you became a photographer or how you first started out.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm from Georgia. I moved here about 6 years ago, but I started off in Georgia about 8 years ago. It really started when my son was born. Will be 8 soon. Excuse me, right before he was born, rather. I bought my first camera. It was a Canon T5i, I think.
Okay.
Sound familiar, like the little Rebel?
Yeah.
With a little kit lens. And anyway, I got that just to get good pictures of my new kid. This was 2013, 2012-ish when I got the camera. And, nowadays I probably would have just stuck with my cell phone, but back then,
oh yeah,
I wanted to get a better camera. So I got the camera. I knew some other guys in town, just kind of acquaintances that were photographers. So I actually went, they had a studio. So I remember just going, knocking on their door one day saying, "Hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with this thing. Show me some stuff." Long story short, I'm in there every day. They're
bugging the hell out of them.
Yeah, they're kind of taking me under their wing, shooting stuff. Next thing I know, they invite me to come out to this. It's kind of like this little group shoot thing. And what it was a modeling agency out there. They're bringing a lot of their new models out there, young models that very fresh to it. Want to get them used to being around photographers, I guess. And then at the same time, the photo guild studio, I forget what they're called. They had people like me just hanging around all the time. So they're like, we're going to bring these guys in too. Just make this a really awkward situation. All these new people, but had no idea what they're doing, working with. Anyway, it ended up being pretty cool. And that modeling agency ended up using some of those photos that day from a guy that had no idea what I was doing.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, from there, it kind of just sparked an interest, and I started doing more glam stuff at that time. So that's kind of what I started off doing. And it was total accident. That's how I got started. I was still getting pictures of my kids and stuff like that. The main reason I bought the camera, but I found a new love, and that was that. And so before photography, I toured and played music for 16 years. So then I gravitated towards the stage and started doing a lot of concert stuff. So that was the main stuff I did for the longest time, was just the glam and the concert stuff. And then I came out here.
Yeah, going into the concert stuff. So you were in a band?
I was. Excuse me, I'm drinking beer on your show.
Oh, that's perfect. We do that. So tell us a little bit about your experience in the band, and what was it that you played in the band?
Oh man, I played guitar. So I was in metal bands, and I played guitar and did a little background vocal stuff. It was just local to Atlanta stuff. I was young, trying to be the next thing, trying to make it, and I loved it. But eventually the flame died, and I guess my next thing, like I said, just stumbled upon photography. I didn't mean for photography I didn't mean to be a photographer. You know what I mean?
Photography found you is what you're trying to say.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
So listen, pictures of your kids, going back to that, I remember doing the same thing. At a young age, they're okay with the pictures, but as they get older, they hate it because you're always in their face. You're always using them as your models, and you're always trying to perfect your craft of photography and doing portraits. So how do your kids feel right now about you as a photographer?
Well, I don't know if you've seen the photos But I think I might have sent you some of my kids just making all the crazy faces.
Yes.
That's how I adapt. At first, I would get good photos of the kids, but now they're at the age. Well, now they're starting to get better again. My daughter is a total model diva at 3 years old. My son at 3 years old, he wasn't having it. She'll sit there and pose for me. And now he's old enough to where if I threaten him enough, he'll eventually, give me some pictures. But I'll use them. I'll use my son a lot to kind of help me test light for headshots, because that's what I mostly do now is headshots. And at first he'd just sit there and be so bored. And so I'm like, all right, just keep making your faces then. Then I'm looking through my photos, getting ready to delete those because those are just my, test shots or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, these are great. The more I look at them, I'm like, these work. And so I edited those up and it became a thing. And a lot of people around here have me doing for their kids. So that kind of everything I do happens accidentally.
You're lucky like that.
Well, see, exactly. It's almost like the way you stumbled upon this show. It was accidental, You put a thing on the photography group and said, hey, is anybody in the area? Hey, I was like, I'm in the area. We can do a show. We're going to make you famous, Mac, if you haven't been famous already. So
I'm not, I haven't been. Right, not for this anyway.
Yeah. And we're still trying to build our subscribers, and we're still gaining viewers every day. And the whole point of this is to promote you as a photographer and to discuss some of the things that you want to do in your future. So with that being said, we're going to jump into your slideshow, which actually shows some of your work. And then you can kind of tell us a little bit of the details of the pictures or the images that you sent us for discussion today. How's that?
Sounds good. They probably all happened by accident as well, but let's see.
Hey, that's okay. All right, Mac, we are back. This is the slideshow. This is going to have your images. And if you would just go through some of these in detail and kind of explain a little bit of behind the scenes for us. Okay.
Okay.
So again, we have Maq Brown, our special guest photographer, on with us today to describe some of his images that he sent over in the glamour portrait world. I guess the music and concert as well, right?
Yes, sir.
So Mac, this is your bio that you sent us. And if everybody would read over the bio for our viewers out there, you've already discussed a little bit of the information that we have on here, but get into more of the headshots and the music part of your bio.
Okay. Well, like I said earlier, in Georgia, I started, with the glamour and the concert stuff. Really, when I moved to North Carolina about 6 years ago, started working with bands, more like actual local and regional bands, and actually some national bands here and there. Just doing more of their promo shots, like their studio style, stuff they'll use for posters or inside their album covers, stuff like that. So I started doing a lot of stuff like that with a lot of the bands, and probably the last 2 years really is when I really got into the headshot stuff. I've always done headshots, but then I learned that, there's a special way to do headshots. You do them different than you do like any half body or full body stuff. To me, I do anyway. And I'm still trying to perfect that. And I mean, I'll probably always be trying to perfect that, but I really enjoy the head. To me, that's like the most technical thing I do is the headshots. Besides the concert editing, that can get pretty technical, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at now.
Good deal. All right, let's go into some of your headshots. And okay. I know for example, when you get into doing more headshot stuff, the flaws show and the detail, people can recognize the detail. So tell us who this chap is right here and how you got this image.
This is a strange dude I met. So this is my son. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, with I had him test. He's my test model for headshot lighting. And he starts, for me to keep him interested, I just let him make these crazy faces, and he just goes to town with it. The kid's very animated, so I ended up getting
I think with this session, like 20 shots out of it. We eventually want to get some canvases with them all anyway, but yeah, we just let him get crazy, and all the neighbors and people around town ended up really liking it, and it's actually been a successful little project for me. Kids from all over the neighborhood come in here. They're in and out in like 10 minutes because it's simple. They just come in, act crazy, and leave. But this was done with an 85 millimeter. It's probably at 1.8 on it because, with my headshots, kind of like for the back of the head to fall off a little blurry there. It's just a single octo box. Actually, sorry, this is 2 lights. This is a kicker light, just very soft, and then the main light's octo box as well, as with a reflector up under it. So.
Gotcha. Now, this style of portrait is what you prefer when you do the headshots. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a one-trick pony with headshots. As far as lighting that's what I enjoy doing. I just kind of stick with it.
Yeah. I mean, if it works too. So,
Luke, it just gives a dimension.
Yeah. What do you think about this image of his son?
Well, we haven't had family portraits since the kids were probably like 4 and 5. Thank God. But you go in, your kids are crying, they're cranky, no one gets in the right position, and finally just take the damn picture. I'm saying this is that picture. I'm saying this is what you're going for. Just who cares if your family's chaotic? Who cares if their eyes are closed? That's Absolutely. Your family. I'm saying so. This is like a true, real headshot.
This is definitely not something you get done at school and hang on the wall. I mean, this is poster size. And they'll love it when they get older too. It's like, I can't believe you took that picture of me, Dad.
Even in the rare occasion that I do family photos, because I don't do family photos. But every now and then I'll have a good friend or a neighbor that just insists that I do it. I'm like, okay, but typically I'd let the whole family do stuff like this, and and I don't do studio style stuff when I do that. We try to get out somewhere, but I try to bring out personality. This has personality to me, and instead of this boring old everybody look and smile at the camera stuff.
Yeah,
that bores me. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
Well, I think overall it's a really good picture, even though if he was being goofy and having fun, I think that it shows his true character.
Yeah, he actually gets excited to test model for me now. Before I would make him sit there and act right, and he would just get so bored and mad. But now he like jumps right up when I say I need somebody, and
he volunteers.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Let's see. Next image.
All right. This is a band falling through April. We actually did this in my garage. That's on a 10-foot black backdrop. This was in the winter, so it was cold. I was about to say, usually it's hot as hell out there, and we're trying not to show it. But
right.
But this was done probably late fall, early winter. But yeah, I had them kind of tighten in there. It has 2 octo boxes up above because I didn't have a large enough modifier at the time. Then it's got 2 purple gels on a couple speed lights in the back, kind of kicking on that backdrop.
Luke, what do you think about this band here?
Well, I was actually listening to them last night, but even more impressive, I realized that as I went from like Spotify to other stuff, this is their main profile picture for everything.
Yeah,
literally everything.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? So your image is it's not just here, it's across the internet, because every time they open something, this is the image that they have up there. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and they're a pretty successful band. So it's cool seeing this image, on big festival, advertisements, stuff like that, when these guys are playing on them. They're planning on playing on them this late summer, I believe. So it's it's pretty cool seeing that stuff. But it's a great band. They're pretty successful. They're still fairly new, I think, and growing, but they're doing real good for themselves. So I'm proud of them.
The good thing is, Maq, is when you get an image like this and they use it that often, they get feedback as well, I'm sure, about
Absolutely.
the image and how it's perceived on their end. So when it comes time to get a new CD cover or something like that, I'm sure they're going to come looking for you, man.
Listen, these bands, it's just like with photographers. I feel like like with anybody, that's why I do headshots. That's usually people's first impression of you. And if they're successful, I'm successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If because I'm telling you, Blackwater Drowning, that's another band that I work with a lot, and that's who I started working with right when I got here, and they're like on top of the world out, especially here in Charlotte. So when I started working with them, man, people just came flocking to me, and that was awesome. You know, I owe them so much for that. But I felt like it's because it was powerful images I was doing for them at the time, and still am. I hope they're powerful. I feel like they are because people keep coming. But you want to have a good first impression for these bands, because a lot of people, it's just some shitty band or photo of some dudes just standing, I don't know, in the road.
Yeah.
I don't care.
The typical images, yeah.
But
I got you.
I want people to notice it, and then I want people to listen to the music. Same thing with headshots. If you're sending it to job people, corporate people, whatever, you want people to turn their head and say, oh, let's check out this guy or gal. I haven't said gal in a long time. That was fun.
Well, overall, like I say, the image itself, it's different. And like we were discussing before the show, the posing, it doesn't have to be dramatic. It just needs to show their character, and hopefully this speaks for the band if they're using it that much. So
absolutely. And when I get bands in here, it's pretty funny. It's almost like my kid shots. It's real quick in and out. They don't want to be there. They're not comfortable with it.
Right.
And a little thing I do with bands, it is funny. I tell people this all the time. A lot of them look at me like I'm crazy. We do it. Most of the shoots I'll do in my garage. We come in here. We got a beer fridge. First thing I do, I introduce myself. Hey guys, what kind of beer you want? We're all in there drinking, and I'm setting up lights. Next thing you know, they're like, okay, well, are we almost done? I'm like, we are done. We've been done for 15 minutes. We're just drinking beer now. And they're like, holy crap. Okay. Well, that was quick. So, because I'm not sitting there forcing them to pose and all that. And they're like, we were expecting you to pose this. I'm like, if I notice something, I'll tell you, to do something. Otherwise, I just want you to be natural, Now, there are some bands, don't get me wrong, that I'm sitting here having to work with constantly, and like, no, do this. But like, these guys came in, they're just cool cats, and they're just, that's just their vibe right there that you're looking at. None of that's forced, so.
Yeah, turned out really good, Mac.
Cool.
Good
Thanks.
job. Okay, next image. All right.
This was at a group shoot I did a couple months ago, maybe a month ago, up in Raleigh with a bunch of friends of mine. Just went up there. We had a few models that showed up. It was like a glam shootout thing, but only thing I did that day was headshots. I said, all I want to do today is headshots. And it was a real simple setup. I came in there, it's chaos in there because there's 6 of us. Everybody's got lights, and we're all triggering each other's lights. It was chaos, but I came in there, and this is just a single light right in the front. As you see, there's no real kicker on her. I should have used one on her because she's got the dark hair. But whatever, I put a reflector up under her. My secret to this is that is a composite background. I just kind of snuck it in there. It was on a white cyc wall. I had her far enough from it where it's kind of gray.
Right.
So I just popped this in there, and I colored a little bit of kicker light in her hair, to make it look like that color behind her was kind of bouncing off her head a little bit. Other than that, same thing as 85 millimeter, 1.8. And yeah, I just went in there, and she had real good skin. So it's not a lot of blemish removal or anything. I just did some frequency separation on her, kind of smooth out those tones, and popped the eye, sharpened it, and called it a day.
Very good. So this is kind of like your technique that you're teaching with your YouTube channel. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's very, my editing style is very, very simple. Like I said, I'll do some frequency separation. The one I have in my actions that I use is real good for beginners because it has a second part to the frequency separation where you can go in there and it kind of does the toning for you on the color channel. Sometimes, most of the time, it works really well. Sometimes it's not, depending on the image, you might have to go in there and do some more manual stuff. But me personally, I always go in there and do manual stuff. And that's what I recommend people on my YouTube stuff, play with this first with the auto thing. But at the same time, go in here, and practice frequency separation, because that's tough, man. You don't pick that up overnight. It takes years.
Even with those,
I'm still learning it.
Yeah, even with those layers and the actions, you can still adjust those as well.
Absolutely.
So there's no such thing customizable.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a one click and you're done. To me, a lot of people advertise or I feel like kind of hint at that. No. You got to get in there and tweak some, even with all these little like Lightroom presets, stuff like that. I remember when I first started, I bought some. I'm like, oh, my pictures are going to look awesome like these online. And I'm like, oh, this looks like crap.
It never works out the way you think it does with those things.
No, you still got to you still kind of got to get in there and mess with it. You still kind of got to know what's up a little bit, but and that's why I do the videos, kind of help people as much as I can. I need to get better at them, but we'll get there.
We will. All right. This image here, give us a little bit of detail on, it's similar, but I think the editing is just a little bit more difficult.
This is, it's the same day. It was the same shootout, little group shoot, same setup. She was sitting in the same stool with the same light setup. So I just put a different background on her. This is a real good friend of mine, Melinda. She's kind of my muse. I call her. She, if I need somebody for a glam shoot, I'll have her come out. Just let's do this. But she's awesome. But same thing. She had real good skin already. I went in there and cleaned it up a little bit, and other than that, just some more frequency separation. Popped the eyes out a little bit, some dodge and burn, some sharpening, and pop that background in there. But same thing, a single light, 85 millimeter. You see that reflector under the light in the catch light in her eyes. But other than that, I probably edited this in 20 minutes maybe, and I'm a slow editor, so somebody better could probably do it in 10. Actually, the real good guys probably spend 2 hours on it, but there's no telling what she would probably use this for, other than portfolio stuff or maybe some advertising. But Luke, give us a little bit of feedback on the last image and this image as far as the portraiture goes.
They're great shots. I love the bokeh background that you slipped in there.
I cheated.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you don't need to tell your secrets. You know what I'm saying?
I have no secrets.
As far as everybody knows, they're the best things ever. Honestly, they're great shots. You know what I'm saying? They're overall top to bottom, front to back. They're great. The light in the eyes, I love it. And the backgrounds are awesome.
I appreciate it.
And that's something you want to learn how to do too, right? Right, Luke?
I want to learn how to do everything. Yes.
You're just a sponge right now.
I am.
Come on, Luke. We'll get together on Zoom one day. I'll show you everything. I'll show you everything I know, which means we'll be on Zoom for like 5 minutes, maybe.
Okay. These shots here, I know 2 separate shots, but the one on the left, the gentleman, walk us through that portrait and how that was done.
Okay. Well, this one, it's a gentleman. He runs a car wash chemical company. He wanted me to come in and do headshots for about 5 of their executive guys. So his only thing, he said he wanted the backgrounds to be copper to match their color scheme. So I came in there, same thing. I just faked the background. I did a gradient map on it to kind of, give it that light to darker feel to it. So it's just not a flat, solid color. But other than that, same headshot setup I use all the time, except this one, again, I had the kicker light. You can see in the back, kind of giving them some extra dimension there. Had the reflector up underneath still. And with the men, I don't go crazy with the frequency separation. I still use it, but then I'll grab that opacity slider and Photoshop, and I'll just run it down to between 25, 50%. But I'll still pop the eyes, still sharpen, still do a little dodge and burn, and that's about it.
So would you say that shooting men portraits are easier than ladies portraits?
No, they're about the same to me. It's a different edit. You don't have to And again, if I'm doing a glam headshot, like a beauty or glamour headshot, it's different than if I'm doing a female's business headshot.
Right,
I'll still, I'm not going to try to make it magazine perfect on a business headshot. I know the women still want it to look good and real clean. So I'll clean them
They're
up.
like, make me
more.
look completely different.
Yeah. But I'll clean them up a little more. With a men, you don't have to clean up as much, but they usually have more skin blemishes too. The men do. So you'll spend more time on stuff like that with them. So at the end of the day, it's a slightly different workflow, but I mean, one's not any easier or harder than the other. So.
Gotcha. All right, Luke, I know you're a big beer fan. So before Mac tells us about this next shot, overall, what do you think about this product shot of the beer?
I love it. It tells the story. You know what I'm saying? You want to have that beer. You don't know what it tastes like, but I want to jump in the screen right now and have a sip of that beer.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
Appreciate it.
So Mac, give us a little bit of behind the scenes or a story about this collaboration that you did here.
This is a very special image to me because there is a big story to this. So that's Ass Clown Brewing Company and a band that I work with a lot, Blackwater Drowning. I was just mentioning them to you.
Right.
They ended up doing a collaboration with Ass Clown to make this beer, and what it was, the proceeds were to go to these local Charlotte music venues that were closed during COVID. So a certain percentage went to them.
That's great.
So they ended up calling it Blackwater Clowning. But what's cool about this is I also shot the image on the can, the skull, the clown skull with the nose. It kind of mimics the Ass Clown logo there, but just the more badass metal version of it, I guess. So I photographed that. I actually created the label for them. It's actually a sour IPA. It's the first one Ass Clown made. It was good. It was dank. It was hard. For a lot of people, it's hard to drink, but I love stuff like that. It's extremely hoppy and sour. So it threw a lot of people off. But we and that's what Ass Clown's great at, is just doing a lot of weird, crazy beers like that, just left field. It's not for everybody, but if you like them, you love them. I'll probably go there once a week. But anyway, I'm making this Ass Clown commercial.
Hey, that's okay. If Ass Clown Brewing Company would like to sponsor the Next Shot photo and video show, please get in touch with me or Luke. But listen, Mac, that's a great product shot. And, me and Luke love beer and we love doing photography, and this combination, I mean, and plus it was for a good cause, which, I guess a lot of people didn't know that if they weren't familiar with the beer or the band. So
this was shot. This was shot on right here at my house on my dining table, and it was a composite. And it's a composite of about 20 shots into one. So that took a long time to edit this and get right, but yeah, that's kind of my baby, man. I love that. I want to print it.
Yeah, I mean, go for it, man. Go for it. Get a nice print of it and be proud of it.
People come to the house. Why do you have a picture of beer on your wall?
Here's the story behind this. That's what you just started out. It's a good conversation piece, All right, good deal. Great image, Mac.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go into the next set of images. So I guess these are models, 2 different locations. So let's start with the lady in black on the left.
Okay. Her name's Heather Julia. She's out of Atlanta. She, again, right when I got started, that's probably within my first 2 or 3 years, I shot this photo. I was at the goat farm in Atlanta. Really, really, really cool spot. Most of my photos from back then were all taken there. Probably within about a 3-year period. That's the only place I'd go when I'd go back to Atlanta. That's after I already moved to Charlotte. But this is right at sunset over there. A big thing of mine is I learned in the studio. That's where I kind of learned all my chops, is in a studio with strobe lights. I'm terrified of natural light. I can't shoot natural light. I suck at it. So I bring my strobes outside. So you'll notice that with a lot of these images. This one in particular, I mean, it's just a big, I think that was a 60-inch octo box. That's when I was shooting with Paul C. Buff lights, and I had that out there. And, she was she's good at what she does. You know, she just gets into these crazy little poses like that, you know, not your typical stuff. And I don't think we got a bad image that day. It was hard for me to pick the photos we did. We ended up working together a few more times. So hopefully I can get back to Atlanta soon and get up with her again. But it's always been a favorite shot of mine. For some, you know, it's one of those things I can't really tell you why. I think it's all the color in it, the contrast of this ran down building and, you know, the kind of fancy dress and stuff and then the sunset there.
Yeah. So Luke, a little bit of feedback on that image.
Yeah, it's great. You know, just the grungy metal, the rotten earth tone colors. You know what I'm saying, playing off just her overall softness. The contrast there is awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
Thank
and I'm
you.
sure you didn't have to do a whole lot of editing with the lighting, you know, because of the way you've exposed the image to compensate for the flash. But having that softbox that big, that's where
Yeah.
you get that nice fall off to where it looks like it's natural light, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, the only editing I did with this really is, you know, some color balancing, and then again, just some frequency separation on the skin and dodge and burn, sharpening. Again, I'm a one trick pony. I do the same stuff to every image, whether it's a headshot or a full body shot like this. I kind of do the same thing.
Well, I mean, if it works, right, you know, don't change it up until you see it's not working for your style. So it looks like
Absolutely.
you've created that editing style. So let's talk about the lady on the right here at the beach.
That's my buddy Livia. She's down, I'm trying to remember, she moves a lot. She's always down in Florida though. I forgot what part of Florida she's in now. I think Destin. But we were down there on a family vacation actually, and I called her to the beach because that's what she does. She's a bikini model. So I called her over. It was our first night there. I'm like, you know, get down here. We're at the beach. It was real windy that day, so I had to pull her offshore a little bit. I don't know my beach terminology, but
well, offshore does sound like it's right.
It looks like you're in the dunes.
Yeah, the dunes.
Yeah, it was. And so the wind was a little calmer there, because otherwise you should see the photos we try to get on the beach. It's just hair on her face. It's like, man, this didn't work. But my wife was here with me this day, helping me hold the light. And it, you know, we're just talking about, I was using the big 60-inch on the other photo. With this one, it's just I think like a 20 something, maybe 31-inch beauty dish.
Yeah,
it was a white beauty dish, so it was still throwing a lot of light. And, you know, it is really more just kind of filling in shadows more than anything. But this image, you know, same thing. It's a lot of frequency separation, dodge and burn. But what's funny about this one is that is a fake sky and a fake sun. I added the sky and then I added the sun too, because I think it was getting kind of dark and it was cloudy, and I just didn't like the way the sky looked. But then the ocean and the grass and the sand there looked pretty good. And you can kind of tell, like the giveaway is the shadow behind her.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting more of the beauty dish shadow than the sun behind her. So, you know, probably not the best execution there to kind of trick people. But
well, yeah,
I promise you, no one's really looking at the shadows though. You know?
Yeah, the sky is not distracting. So I think you did a really good job with the composite of the final image. So
well, yeah, and like I said, with the rim light on her arm and on her butt there and on the back of her leg, I mean, that's natural. So I had to place that fake sun right to where it made sense, and it looked like it was the rim light from that. So you know, I'm starting to learn a little stuff like that here and there.
Very good. All right, let's move to the next slide.
Okay.
All right, Mac, here's the next image. And Luke, I know you love black and whites. So Mac, give us a little bit of behind the scenes of this, and then we'll let Luke talk.
Well, I don't love black and whites.
Total opposite.
I hardly ever do black and white, but to me, with this shot, like I won't say I don't love them. I just try to stay away. I'm intimidated by black and whites.
Right.
And because I know it has to be done a certain way, you know, there's an art to it, and I'm still trying to learn it. But with this image, I just kept seeing it in black and white. So I wanted to give it a shot, and I loved it. The model loved it. This is another one. She comes in there and I don't have to say a word. She just nails it every time. She's successful though. I mean, she's probably the biggest name that I've worked with. She just gets in there and kills it. I don't know why she was giving me time of day, but she did. So I'm not complaining, but
I think it's because you have talent, sir.
Yes, you do.
I appreciate that. But I'm looking, again, the light was kind of almost, it was high above her, and it was just I believe this was a gridded beauty dish, and it was, almost straight down on her. That's why I kind of had her have her head up a little bit like that. But you can see like more towards her chest and torso, kind of starts to fall off. I was going to brighten all that, and I was like, no, I kind of like it being brighter up top. But it took me a while to play with the skin tones in black and white, and at the end of the day, I was happy with it. So other than that, this was a 24-70. That's all only lenses I used back then.
Yeah,
it's probably at about 50 millimeters. Pretty sure it probably was at 2.8, but yeah, it's just one of my all-time favorites. I love it.
yeah, and to me, it looks like editorial or fashion, something you see in a magazine like that. But Luke, give us a little bit of feedback on this image here.
So I love black and white. Most of my black and white though is not people. I tend to stay away from people, but great shot. You know what I'm saying? The shadows, you nailed it. For as much as you're scared of and staying away from black and white, I will always tell you to do more black and white.
Well, I have done more. Even recently, I did one. I can't remember what shot it was, but every now and then, like twice a year, I'll do a black and white edit. That's about it. But other than that, like I said, I'm just intimidated by it. I respect it, but I feel like a lot of people don't understand black and white. And you probably know the deal. You guys shoot weddings. You send the family your photos, and then they'll convert them to black and white. I'm like, no, you don't just run it through an app or something. Anyway, I know the general public doesn't care about that, but yeah, I'm just scared of black and white, man. It's delicate.
It's delicate when you edit,
do it right.
Yeah, but it's dramatic. I mean, it adds a sense of something like, honestly, you cannot see a color image in black and white through your eyes. I mean, it's just you got to imagine it like, hey, I've seen this effect before. I've seen how this light does. I see how the fall off does, and it's the gradient of how you've got that light, which I think makes the image just pop even more. So very good job.
I appreciate it.
All right. Now these two are pretty unique. So give us a little bit of behind the scenes on how you came about shooting these images here.
Okay. Well, before I got into photography, I was a musician. I toured and recorded for 16 years. And then so naturally I just gravitated back towards the stage and got into concert photography. Started off with, local bands, just shooting them, just showing up, shooting them. They don't care. They want you to. Then I started building a small portfolio, got with a couple publications and started shooting these bigger bands. The one on the left there, that's Chino from the Deftones. Funny thing about that shot, I sat on it for 2 years because at first I didn't like it because, it's not in focus. He's dark. There's all this bokeh everywhere. And at the time I didn't respect that like I should have.
Yeah.
But then I came back and looked at it. I'm like, why did I not like this before? It's one of my favorite live shots now. But it's an action shot. He's jumping around, and and that's the thing about concert stuff. To me, it's the hardest genre for me to photograph because of the stage lights, just throwing color on them. You got to get in there, and I mean, you'll spend a long time just editing single shots. Then you got your magazine editor wanting 20 of them the next day so he can be the first one to post the images on his website or whatever. It's like, oh man. So, it's a tough job and it doesn't pay you anything. You're doing it for a concert ticket and, you got the best seat in the house. You're between the stage and the barricade, but you're only there for 3 songs. You get to shoot 3 songs for all the bands. So, and that's another part that makes it, very challenging because you're about 15 minutes, maybe. If you have like punk bands, their songs are a minute long. You got like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
it's tough. It's challenging, man. But I love it. I love the challenge, and I'm happy with the concert stuff I do. The one on the right there, that's Greg from Dillinger Escape Plan, and they are a hard band to photograph because they're just high energy. No one sits still, so it's very rare you're going to get a tight, sharp shot. Luckily for me, this particular image was on a daytime festival shot or a show, so it was outside. It was that's not sunlight hitting him, but it was daytime. The stage was shaded, but I got lucky with that one. But and again, I edit all these with my texture app or action. Sorry, and just kind of look at his arm and his shirt and stuff. You see all that detail and texture. It kind of pops out. So I'll use that on all my live stuff.
Yeah, it's actually it almost has a grunge effect to it, almost like it's got some noise in it, which fits the theme of like shooting artists and bands, such as metal and stuff like that. So,
well, when you're shooting them in small indoor venues, that's the thing too. You can't use flash, and typically my ISO is up to 6400, and you're going to have noise in these photos. But again, a lot of people are trying to find ways to clean that noise up. I love it. Like you said, it kind of adds to the style photos. It dirties it up a little bit, and I like that. Then I'll add this detail action to it, dirty it up even more.
It's called the Maq Brown dirty action.
I just like it.
I was actually watching a YouTube video a couple weeks ago about how the guy who'd been shooting for years said, way back when, some of the best pictures ever taken, they're not focused. They're not clean. They're grainy. They're dirty. I'm saying, but they're some of the best pictures ever. People spend way too much time trying to get the perfect, sharp, clean image. And sometimes it's not worth it,
No, and I understand it, man. People are scared of the high ISO. I get it. Whatever you got to do to get the shot, crank it up. I don't care. Crank it up. You can clean it, some of it up. You're going to lose some detail in your images, but it doesn't bother me. Even some of the glam stuff I've done, I've shot up to like 8,000 ISO. I think it's 8,000, whatever the number around there is, and maybe it's 9. I don't know. I rarely go that high, but I've done photos like that, and I like it. It doesn't bother me.
Well, the images look, honestly, I mean, if you just look at these two side by side, it's almost like you're looking at the pages of a magazine, because you got two totally different styles of photography. You got the one where the light's coming through, you got the bokeh from everything, the glare and the fog. Then you got this crisp, clean shot, but the lights are coming down at the stage. I mean, it speaks to you. Would you agree, Luke?
It is Metal Edge, circa 1987.
Circus magazine.
you never know where these images are going to wind up, so great job, man. Like I say, that's definitely an area that I would like to try, because I've never shot like concerts like that. I've shot people like playing solo, like sitting on a stool with a guitar type thing, where they're not moving around, the lights are not going crazy. But this would definitely be a challenge I'd like to try out too. So
a lot of the local bands here, they're starting up again, like June, July. Get out there, hit some of them up. They'll let you come out. They want people to come out and take photos of them. They'll probably get you in for free or whatever. Hit them up. I've never had one tell me no. They'll, if you're offering to take photos of them, they'll let you, and then that helps you build a portfolio for it.
Exactly, and it helps promote the band and the artist as well. So
absolutely.
All right, this shot, Mac, speaks to me, man. This is just a killer shot. This is one of my favorites out of your whole portfolio. So tell us a little bit of the behind the scenes story on this.
This is probably my absolute favorite concert photo I've done. This is old Rudy from Scorpions. Again, it's one of those bands that come out and they just play up the photographers because they know we're there for them. We're there to get good shots for them, make them look good. A lot of the bands come out, they don't want you there, and it shows in the photos, and then those photos go all over the world, and these guys look like douchebags because anyway. So but then you have bands like this, and and they're on top of the world. This is one of the biggest bands ever, and they're still coming out, and they're thankful you're there. they will bend down and tell you, thank you for being here, stuff like that, you know. And so it's awesome that they're always respectful to us, and they'll play up the camera. They'll come over to you, just make these gestures to you. But when I saw this, I knew before I even saw the picture on the back of the camera, I was like, that's the shot. And that's the time. Like I said, everything's so fast paced. You're just praying the whole time. Please be in focus. Please be in focus.
Yeah. Please let the lighting be great. You know, please let him, please let me get this shot. This is the one.
I can't tell you how many times during live shows, because you're shooting you're shooting wide open too. So I call it spray and pray, you know. Just put your camera on burst mode and you're just firing away, man. You will burn through some memory cards shooting one band. And like I said, in 3 songs, because I'll shoot like 700 images per band, and then I'll send like 15 to 20 to the magazine. So this one shot though, I'm like, please be in focus. And luckily it was. I got home that night and just edited it, and I cropped it this way. I love dead space. I really wanted to centering. And I love that the singer, I can never remember his name, he's over there on the side, just kind of poking out there. You know, you got the flag there and all the rafters in the ceiling, and you know, it's almost perfectly centered.
Yeah.
But I'm a real symmetrical guy, and this just spoke to me in that way. And it's not perfect symmetric, symmetry wise. My terminology is getting off here, but but I love the image, and like I said, I edited it that night, and this just kind of stuck with me and stayed in my portfolio ever since. To me, this shot wouldn't be as cool if, I just didn't bring out all those details, and I'll have to do some before and afters. I think I'd have a video on my YouTube actually of me doing the singer for Trivium, Matt Heafy. I did a photo for him. Go check that out, and you'll see what that does. I mean, it just really pops, all the color, and like you said, it just grunges it up a little, and I love that.
All right, Luke, give us a little bit of feedback on this cool image here.
So this is another case of not really caring what anybody thinks. When people, in a good way, like when people hate dead space, I'm saying, I think if you cropped it too close, the image isn't as impactful. It's not as good. It doesn't tell the story that it tells as wide as it is. You know what I'm saying? So that space off to the left, I don't even see it. All I see is that one finger just like in my face.
The
whole time.
I think I remember now. The main reason I did that, I cropped it that way, because I wanted it as my cover photo on Facebook. So that was the dimension, I think, at the time. And I think now that I remember, I think that's why I cropped it that way, because I'm like, this, and it stayed there for like 2 years. I'm like, this is staying there. And then I probably replaced it with a kid's picture or something,
Yeah, but this is top notch. Like I say again, editorial stuff you see that is publishable, because it seems like nobody else would have got that shot, because he's only saying you, and you centered him up, and he's like, everybody else around you, they're not as privileged as you right now. So once in a lifetime shot, man.
Absolutely. I remember shooting with I shot Black Label Society, which was Zach Wild. I don't know if y'all are familiar with him.
Yes.
And I remember
I am. Roger's not.
Yeah, I'm out of it. I'm sorry. I got to get more into these bands here.
And that's another guy who's probably he's on top of the world. He's played guitar for Ozzy. He's a legend. He's probably one of the best guitar players ever. Anyway, I show up to the photo pit. For some reason, I'm the only photographer that night. And it's so funny. I see him, he's sitting there playing, looking down at me. Next thing I know, I see him head nodding like to the other side of the stage. And I finally pick up. I'm like, he wants me to go over there. So I run over there. Next thing I know, he's running towards me, looking at me, playing guitar.
Oh, man.
It just gets right in my lens. But he kept doing that for those first 3 songs. I love these bands. They know you're there for them. They're directing me, or he was that night. He's like telling me where to go because he's about to go there. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like that, again, being one of the only photographers there, I mean, you're getting everything. So it's very, very unique.
Yeah, that was a fun night.
All right, let's go on to the next image. Here you go.
Okay, this is my friend Trishelle. She's out in Georgia too. Funny story about her. Right when I started shooting, she's real well known. So I remember right when I started, I used to hit her up all the time, in a non-creepy way, and be like, "Hey, let's come out. I'd love to photograph you, all the stuff." And at first, she was cool about it. She's like, "No," because I didn't have my chops yet, and then. But I was persistent with her, and I wasn't aggravating her, but I was persistent. Yeah. Like about a year later, I'm like, "How about now?" She's like, I forgot what she had said, but it was very respectful and nice. Basically, let's wait a little bit. Then she ended up hitting me up. She was like, "Hey, yeah, your stuff's looking cool. Let's do this." And then again, my last couple of years in Atlanta, she was my muse. I shot with her so much, and that persistence pays off, guys.
Yeah.
You want some quality models for your portfolio, and I just kept hitting her up, and finally she agreed to do it. And this almost was natural light getting to the photo. It almost wasn't. I had a small beauty dish out there just to fill some shadows in, and there's very, very little editing. I did some frequency separation on the skin again, and I think a little bit of color toning to the whole image. some natural neutral colors, but other than that, I mean, it's a pretty simple shot, editing wise and shot wise, but I just love it. It's just always stayed with me.
So Luke, I know you like the background there, but overall, what do you think about the composure of the image and the model and how he shot it?
It's great, just her pose, the outfit kind of really pops off that background with that, the patina, the grunge, and the brick. Overall, it's great. I'm saying she's just her facial expression. It's a great shot overall.
Yeah, and
the only thing that
yeah, go ahead.
The only thing that drives me crazy, and this is a pet peeve of mine, but I didn't care the shot. I still just loved it. Is I can't see her other arm. Like I have a thing about that. I have two things. One is armpits. Yeah. I don't want to see armpits in my photos, and I want to see both arms.
Yeah.
Both hands, stuff like that, and that drives me a little crazy. And I shouldn't have said that out loud. Now it's going to drive everybody else crazy. But
well, no, and like you say, this was a few years ago. So, Mac, you've had an opportunity to fix those things. So now, when you're looking at models, you can say, "Hey, I like that pose, but let's turn your shoulder a little bit, your left shoulder more toward me, so we can see more of your arm." That way, the model knows, "Hey, he can't see my arm. It's going to look a little weird, but you can see her hand."
Yeah, so, a little bit there in the hair, but I don't know. I want to see more of it. But anyway, that's just me. That's just me nitpicking. But that's what I do.
Yeah, but that's okay, because
y'all keep telling me I'm hard on myself. But yeah, you got to be.
You got to be hard on yourself. But you're doing a great job. All right, so here is the band. Let's get a little bit of background on the band and the image itself.
All right, these are my babies. I love them. It's Blackwater Drowning. Again, this is the band. I came out here and I just hit them up immediately. I'm like, I'm a music photographer. I'm trying to get back in the game. I'm in a new city here. They're like, "Yeah, come on out. Let's do some photos." This wasn't it, but this is the second to last one I did with them. But I'm constantly working with these guys. But with this one, again, it was done in my garage on a white backdrop. Popped some red gels on the background. There's my two speed lights on the side again. I did a blue and a green gel together in the octobox above. Again, it's kind of my favorite angle there, as you can see with a lot of my photos. This is another composite. This is actually 3 photos in one, because I had them separated from the backdrop. So when I'm pulling them away that far, that 10-foot backdrop, it barely has clearance for 2 people from that focal length. So the 2 guys on the ends, one shot. The lady and the guy on the other end, that's a shot, and then Morgan, the singer in the center, is another shot. And put them all together, even without the glitch. It felt like it was pretty seamless. You couldn't tell, but we just wanted to add the idea was to add the glitch anyway, before I even realized I had to shoot it that way. So we just threw it in there, and it worked. I think they're still using this as their main shot with a lot of stuff. When their new album comes out, we have a new batch of photos we're going to use for that. But yeah, and I'll be working with Morgan again this weekend, actually, over at the Camp North End. We're going to go around and get some stuff with her. But I love these guys. They've helped me a lot, man. They've got me a lot of business. They're kind of on top of the world out here in the metal scene. So I'm glad to have them in my corner.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the image that you have here, you can't tell it's a composite because of the way you've got everything colored and glitched. But I like I say, it almost has a horror movie VHS vibe to me, you know, like an old school, almost like an 80s type vibe.
Absolutely.
But Luke, what do you think about the overall image here?
So everything works. The glitch, it's definitely metal. But the one thing that I love about this picture is, I don't know if that's her hand, but it looks like her hand's like just covered in blood. That red, full red stamp saying.
I never noticed that until just now.
That's the best part about the entire picture. It looks like she's like, just fuck it, and she just got done beating your ass. I'm saying that fist right there, and I don't even know if it's her fist, but in my head, that's the fist.
I think it is. It is. She's holding her jacket.
Yeah.
On there, so it's definitely her hand. I remember the pose, but yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. I never really noticed it. You know, it's funny because that was an idea I had with her for a shoot. Was just to dip her arms in paint and kind of have her standing there with you know, to make it look like there's blood dripping off her,
because nothing else is red except for that one handprint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's a part of the glitch. Her hand wasn't red. It was it
just highlighted in the blue teal or whatever it is, blue green. Yeah. Very good. Like I say, if they use this, I mean, this is definitely album worthy, if not promotion stuff. You know, they could print these off, autograph them, and people would be like, man, that's the coolest little poster. You know what I'm saying? And you can get all the credits for that. I'm sure they'll use you in the future. And like I say, keeping that rapport with these bands, you never know where they're going to go. I mean, and they may be happy playing smaller venues as well and get large, you know, and you never know.
Well, these guys are pretty well known regionally. I mean, they play a lot around the Southeast, and I think they got some pretty cool stuff working for them now that's about to help them blow up even to the next level. But yeah, they're a pretty well known band, way outside of Charlotte here. So it's good. You know, same with the other band, the Fawn Through April.
Yeah,
it's cool seeing these shots in places outside of our local circle here.
Definitely. And something like
they're blowing up.
Yeah, and something like this, you know, we'll definitely put a link in our description on our YouTube channel for everybody to check them out as well. You know, to make sure we get their promotion through here and also your work. So
I appreciate it.
No problem. All right. So here is MaqBrownPhotography.com. This is your information. You can find them on Facebook at Maq Brown Photography. You can also find them on Instagram and the YouTube channel. So we will get more into the YouTube channel on the next slide, but tell us a little bit about this last image here.
Okay, this is my friend Livia again that you saw earlier on the beach, again in a swimsuit, but this is at the goat farm. I got her away from Florida, come up to Atlanta. She drove all the way up there just for little old me, just to do a little shoot at the goat farm. And one of the spots I saw was just this wooden wall. I just love the wall. I'm big on locations and, you know, and walls.
It's always weird, good to have those in your pocket, you know?
Exactly. In this place, man, it's just, there's so much stuff. Like, I've probably been there 100 times, and every time I go, I still see somewhere new. It's like, wow, I never noticed that before, you know? But this one is a little more editing on it, not because she needed it, but I just wanted it to pop more. I did a lot of dodge and burn on this. Of course, the frequency separation, all that. Again, this was a single, I think this was maybe my 60-inch Octobox as well. Kind of had it thrown off to the side a little bit. And I think I had a friend over here with a big white B flat on the other end of her, just kind of bouncing a little bit of more light towards her. But other than that, you know, just some sharpening, popping the eyes. Again, just the same stuff I always do.
Yeah, I mean, I like the overall image. And, just looking at the bracelet too, I don't think I noticed that the first time, as far as the bracelet kind of tying in with the wood and the swimsuit and everything as well, or the lingerie. I'm not sure. I think it's swimsuit, maybe.
I think she told me it was a swimsuit.
So
it's one of those outfits where
but
go either way.
The skin tone is really nice for the wood background. So I think you chose the perfect background for that. So
she's Brazilian. That's just her natural olive skin tone. I didn't really edit that too much. I didn't do any like color not balancing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
color toning. Sorry, I didn't add it.
The toning of the skin.
I didn't do any of that with her. Just some dodge and burn. I played with some saturations and stuff, but that's her skin tone, man. That's why I love working with her. She glows.
Very good. Luke, any comments on the last image here?
Great as the rest of them. That wood though, I like that wood popping off of her. She kind of blends right into it with that color swimsuit there.
Appreciate it.
Very good. All right. So Maq Brown Photography, this is your YouTube channel. So again, everybody that is watching this episode, make sure you go and check out Maq Brown Photography on YouTube. Let's get him some more subscribers and let's learn a little bit more about retouching in Photoshop. So Mac, I know we've got all this information on here about the YouTube channel. So what is your goal for the YouTube channel?
My goal, it's new. I just started it maybe this month, maybe 2 months ago. But I'm just now really getting some stuff uploaded to it. My goal really is, like I started off, people help me. I just want to help other people. I know you can get all the same content all over YouTube, but I created some actions and I feel like they're pretty affordable. I'm not trying to get rich or anything. But these videos kind of go in conjunction with those, kind of show you how to use them. And it's very simple, basic, easy ways to do some editing, from retouching. Talked about this texture and detail action there that I use for a lot of the concert stuff. How that you can see in the thumbnail there, the picture of my kids. Those are superhero costumes for Halloween one year. I wanted to get it kind of comic book feel, so I use that for that. I have a Painterly one on there. That one does good. And I don't do a lot of editing like that, but I know it's a popular thing right now, and I like using it on photos of my kids here and there. And then I have one, the tunnel vision, which is kind of a twisted, kind of twist the background a little bit and gives you, just kind of brings the eye to your subject. That one's pretty cool, but just it's simple stuff to do for beginners. A lot of people, advanced people, like using that stuff as well. So I just want to, just kind of show what I know, which isn't an awful lot, but if it helps somebody, then great. If not, then move along.
Keep doing what you're doing. So Luke, have you had a chance to take a look at some of his tutorials and his videos on YouTube?
I have, and I never thought I would ever admit to being a YouTube junkie. But I watch YouTube for a ton of stuff.
I'm addicted to it.
Some people are great. Some people I have to watch on 2 times speed because it takes them 10 minutes to say one thing. Sometimes I just can't understand them at all. But I'm telling you, your stuff is good.
I appreciate it.
Makes sense. You're fluid. You got it going. And a wise man once told me, it's not about making money. It's about getting your name out there, your brand out there. So I promise you, you keep doing what you're doing, and you will go way past where you think you're going to be.
I appreciate it. And you're right. I mean, that's all I'm trying to do. It's just another platform for me. Everybody wears out Facebook and Instagram and whatever. I'm on those, but let's get on YouTube, make ourselves uncomfortable and speak in front of people.
If nothing else, right? If nothing else, it helps build another line of revenue. Even if you sell one a year, that person is going to learn so much. And then, of course, watching your tutorials, if nothing else, they'll learn what frequency separation is. They'll learn how to use the brush tool. They'll learn how to smooth skin with an action versus spending 3 hours trying to figure out how to do it,
Yeah. And like I said, the actions I have, I'll break it down for people who are beginners. I'll be like, keep using this other action if you don't want to do it manually, but leave it open for people who are more advanced to also get in there and kind of keep doing stuff that they already know how to do. But it's a little bit for everybody, I think.
Well, I have already subscribed, and I think Luke has already subscribed to your YouTube channel. So again,
I subscribed,
awesome.
and I hit the bell.
And I hit the bell as well. So anytime you put out new content, I hope our viewers out there are going to do the same. So again, Maq, I really appreciate you sharing your photography and your YouTube channel with us. And we'll go on to closing of the show.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Again, Luke and myself, I'm sure Luke will have a few words, but here's the thing I want to say about your photography and the things that I've learned about you over the past week. For one, you're local. Okay. So we definitely will collaborate. Luke is still in Georgia at the moment, but hopefully, that may change to where he can come up a little bit more often. But I definitely want to work with you and doing some video content, maybe do something, like an interview, behind the scenes thing, something to do with the concerts, the beer, all that stuff is right up our alley, and Luke, good. If you want to give a little bit of closing about what you learned about Maq as well today.
Yeah, it's like I said, if you've only been doing this for 8 years, I'm saying, just looking at your Instagram as I am now, I'm cheating again. But
it's okay.
I'm telling you, it's just, your headshots, I'm saying, aren't typical boring corporate headshots. So I applaud that. And the fact that you can reach, I mean, you got musicians, not like, you're a small bar guy playing on the weekend. You got some big names. You got some big name models. I'm saying, you got from coast to coast. So your 8-year adventure has skyrocketed quickly. Some people probably dream of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you shot Fozzy. I love Fozzy. But again, you keep doing what you're doing. You gotta stop being so hard on yourself, man. I'm telling you. You got some stuff going that people would die for.
Appreciate it, man.
No, thank you.
So again, if you want to tell some people out there about your experience with the Next Shot and the photo video show, or what you thought about Luke and myself today, what would you say? What would you tell other people?
I mean, you approached me about it probably was about a week ago, and you've been nothing but cool to me. I jumped all over the second you hit me up. It's COVID nation right now. So we're all looking for something to do, to stay busy, to get involved. And I really like what you guys are doing right now. Again, it's not just your typical, just a couple guys talking about photos. I like having how you bring other people in, getting different perspectives of things,
Yeah, so, and if nothing else, it should be entertaining, right, Maq?
Absolutely.
Or nobody's going to want to watch it.
No. We'll make it. I mean, like I said, I toned it down today, so we'll.
Yeah, hey, you can always be a guest on our show, man, and we'll definitely plan another one out. So, right quick, let's go over a couple of the questions that we had, so we can finalize this episode. So, question 1: what was your very first camera when you got into photography? I think you've already told us the Canon.
It was the Canon T5i, I think, with the kit lens, and I think I bought the little nifty 50 for it, and had no idea what I was doing. But eventually, I got around to it. Then I upgraded. My first real camera was the Canon 5D Mark III. I got that thing. I literally used it until all the buttons and stuff started falling off. And,
it's like a little Cadillac in it,
Yeah, I wore that camera out. But yeah.
So next question is, who inspired you or still inspires you to take better photographs?
I don't know that a single photographer, I guess more recently, like I said earlier with headshots, Dylan Patrick, that guy just blows me away. With the glamour stuff, Nino Bautista, he's an awesome guy. Just like Dylan though, he's super talented, but he's also a really humble dude. Just messaging, he'll stop what he's doing, hey, what's up, but what inspires me more than anything in photographers, but it's more photos, just individual, like I don't even know who did it, but I'll just see it and I'm like, I'll save it, I really like it. But even more than that is I'm a cinema guy. Like I'll look at, like, I know it sounds weird, but just like certain like cinematography will inspire my photography.
Yeah.
Just the way stuff looks in a movie or something. I'm like, oh, that's a cool angle, or
like the mood it sets, or the lighting.
Absolutely, that inspires me more than anything.
Okay.
It's different. It's weird, I know, but
no, I mean, I think
different and weird is good.
Yeah, I think Luke is a movie buff as well. He likes movies as well. So
it's always about finding inspiration where most people don't find it.
Yeah,
that's where you get your best stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
All right. Next question is, what genre of photography have you not done that you would like to shoot in the future?
Well, I don't know if it's photography, but again, going back to cinema, I'm investing in a bunch of video gear right now. I really want to, again, all these bands that I work with, they kind of know how my brain works. So they're like, we want you to do our music video. I'm like, how do you know? I never done video. I might be terrible. I might suck. They're like, we know how you think, and that, we want you to do it. I'm like, all right, no pressure. So let me, so I've been looking for a reason, and now I have the Sony, just the middle of the road Sony, the 7 III.
A7, yeah.
A7 III. Yeah. My brain's all over the place right now, sorry. And I've never put it in video mode until recently. But again, I feel comfortable with it. I'm playing around with it. So I'm getting a couple lights as we speak, and I'm ready to tackle it. It's intimidating, like learning new stuff like that.
Luke will tell you, video is very intimidating.
Yeah, I'm scared shit. I'm scared shitless, but I want to do it. I'm going to do it. I kind of have to do it. But to answer your question, videography, that's the next genre I want to do.
Very good. And that's the sole purpose, the reason I bought my Canon 90D, is do more video. Okay. And I'll tell you, I love it. So it does a really good job so far. What's your favorite editing software and why?
Photoshop, I guess. To me, it just kind of does everything I need it to do. I've been using Photoshop ever since I was in bands, like the earlier days of Photoshop. I'm an old man, so it was a long time ago, but even designing like t-shirts and stuff back then, I wasn't doing any kind of photo editing, or photo manipulation, but just doing like flyers,
layers,
shows. Just playing with stuff like that. CD, crappy local band CD art and stuff I was doing back then, and I was getting familiar with it then. Then I get into photography, and of course I started off with Lightroom like everybody else, but eventually now Lightroom to me is just kind of an organization tool, and I'll do basic raw adjustments there, and then everything else I'll do in Photoshop. I'll spend hours in there just playing.
Last question is, favorite music or band you listen to when shooting or while you edit your work? Do you have a favorite, or you just all over the place like everybody else?
I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. So when I'm shooting, I'll typically have my clients, I'm like, tell them to play what they want, whatever puts them in the mood. I'll listen to anything. I don't care. But if it's up to me, I have a few playlists I go to, sometimes it's more kind of middle of the road, but I'm a metal guy. So I'll play like Deftones or something. So it's something that's not too crazy. It's more listener friendly for everybody, stuff like that. But plus Deftones, they kind of like, it's going to sound weird, but they're a sexy band. Like their sound, it's like a sexy sound, and it's, I don't know, it's cool. But when I'm editing, nothing. For some reason, I want complete silence.
And that's how sometimes it's better that way, Yeah, you're right. All right. Well, Maq, I appreciate you being on the show with us today. Again, you know, your work is outstanding in our book. You know, keep doing what you're doing, and continue to grow. And if you move into the video genre, of course, you know, we'll be here to support you. You know, I think I'm getting into more video. Luke's wanting to get into more videos. So if nothing else, we can bounce stuff off of each other and continue to grow. So Luke, anything else for closing?
You know, you were by far a pleasure to have on the show. It was a good way to come back from the hiatus. You made it kind of comfortable and easy. You know, it just it was a joy to have you on the show. And honestly, your work is phenomenal. From your 8 years to everything on your Instagram, I promise you, it's great.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. It. And thank you guys so much for having me. It was awesome being a part of this. And you know, let's just, hopefully we can all help each other grow from here and see what happens.
Sounds good.
Definitely.
All right. Again, everybody out there, you learned a little bit about Maq Brown and his photography and wanting to get into more videos. So if you have questions or comments, make sure you send them to us. Make sure you support Maq as well. And look at his Instagram like Luke was doing today. Check out the Facebook and also subscribe to his YouTube channel. And again, everybody out there, until next time, keep shooting.
While me do my two-step.